The Winter Wigwam. The snowstorm raged on for what seemed like an eternity. The howling winds echoed through the trees, as if the very forest was alive, shivering in the cold. Inside the snug igloo, Hiawatha and his parents huddled close, the warmth of their bodies filling the space, while the cold winds tried to force their way inside. But the walls of snow held strong, and the little house they had built together stood resilient. As the days passed, the storm showed no signs of letting up. The world outside was a vast, unbroken expanse of white. Hiawatha's father, still troubled by the loss of their wigwam, couldn't help but wonder how long they would have to endure. But he took solace in the fact that they had a roof over their heads, thanks to Hiawatha's quick thinking. One morning, when the sun finally broke through the heavy clouds, casting a soft, golden light across the snow-covered landscape, Hiawatha ventured outside. His boots crunched in the snow as he made his way to the nearby trees. His father, who had been restless in the igloo, stood at the entrance watching his son. "Where are you going, Hiawatha?" he called out. "I'm going to gather firewood," Hiawatha answered. "We need to keep the fire going." His father watched him for a moment before nodding. "Be careful, my son. The woods are treacherous in a storm like this." "I will be," Hiawatha said, his voice steady. He was no longer the small boy who had first ventured into the wilderness. He had learned much from his father, and the skills of survival had become second nature to him. He knew the forest like the back of his hand. As he trudged through the snow, Hiawatha felt a deep connection to the land. He could feel the spirits of his ancestors all around him, guiding him, whispering through the trees. He had always felt the presence of the land in his heart, but now, with the storm still raging in the distance, he felt it more than ever. The trees were weighed down with snow, their branches bending low. Hiawatha carefully selected fallen branches and stacked them in a pile. He worked quickly, knowing that he had to return to the igloo before the storm picked up again. But as he turned to head back, something caught his eye. A set of animal tracks, faint but visible, led into the deeper woods. Hiawatha's heart quickened. This was an opportunity. He knew that his father would be proud of him if he could find something to hunt, perhaps a rabbit or a deer to supplement their meager provisions. Quietly, he followed the tracks, moving as swiftly and silently as possible. His father's teachings echoed in his mind: never make noise, always be patient, and never rush the hunt. He crept through the snow, his eyes scanning the forest, his breath visible in the cold air. The tracks led him to a small clearing, where he spotted the animal, a rabbit, nibbling on some bark, unaware of his presence. Hiawatha crouched low, remembering everything his father had shown him. Slowly, he pulled an arrow from his quiver, nocking it carefully, and took aim. The rabbit was still, its tiny body no match for the sharp tip of Hiawatha's arrow. With a quiet exhale, Hiawatha released the arrow, and it flew true, striking the rabbit. The animal let out a small squeak before it collapsed. Hiawatha's heart swelled with pride, but he was also filled with respect for the creature. He murmured a quick prayer of thanks to the spirits for providing the food. With the rabbit in hand, Hiawatha made his way back to the igloo, his step lighter now. His father greeted him at the entrance, his face breaking into a smile when he saw the prize. "You've done well, my son," he said, taking the rabbit from him. "You've learned much in a short time." That evening, they sat together in their igloo, the fire crackling warmly in the center, and Hiawatha's mother prepared the meal. As they ate, the storm outside began to lose its intensity. The winds calmed, and the snowflakes fell more gently now, drifting softly onto the ground. It was as if the world itself had sighed in relief. Hiawatha looked around at his family, their faces lit by the warm glow of the fire, and he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He knew that no matter what the world threw at them, they would be okay. They were strong, resourceful, and united. Together, they could face anything. And so, the days passed, and the storm slowly faded into the past. But the lessons Hiawatha had learned would stay with him forever. He had shown his parents that even in the harshest of winters, there was hope, resilience, and a way forward. The spirits of the land had guided him, just as they had guided his ancestors before him, and now he would carry their wisdom with him into the future. Though the storm had tested them, it had also brought them closer, and in the heart of that frozen wilderness, little Hiawatha and his family have found a new sense of belonging and strength. And they knew that, no matter what the seasons would bring, they would always have each other and the unbreakable bond of their love for the land and each other.